Hello students, first and foremost let me congratulate you on your decision to acquire a professional degree. The US CMA, the Certified Management Accountant, is a certification provided by the IMA, the Institute of Management Accountants, an association of finance accounting and finance professionals. This is a globally recognized professional qualification for finance professionals and would greatly enhance your chances of securing an employment, of securing promotion and moving across businesses. The CMA certification consists of two parts. Part 1, that is financial reporting, planning, performance and control, and part 2, which is financial decision. Each of these parts consists of 100 multiple choice questions and 2 essay questions. The multiple choice questions, for the 100 multiple choice questions, you have 3 hours and you have half an hour each for the 2 essay questions. It is only after you complete the multiple choice questions that you are able to answer the essay questions. You would be eligible to answer the essay questions only after you get at least 50% of the MCQs correct. The exam, of course, both the exams are computer-based exams and are held thrice a year. The windows are Jan, Feb, May, June, September, October. Once you register for the CMA course, you should take an exam within 12 months. The entire program can be completed in 3 years. This courseware we are dealing here only with part 1 of the US CMA, that is financial reporting, planning, performance and control. The syllabus of this part has been divided into 5 subsections. This is exactly as per the learning outcome statement issued by the IMA. Section A is external financial reporting decisions, which largely that means you are concerned with making financial statements, reporting to the outsiders, maybe the shareholders, the lenders, the employees, etc. etc. Now what does it mean? When you are talking of financial reporting, largely it is accounting based. You are talking of accounts, how financial statements are prepared, how an income statement is prepared, how a balance sheet is prepared, cash flow statements are prepared, etc. Now having said this, let me assure you students that you do not need to have a prior knowledge of accounting in order to do this course. Non-finance people with non-finance background, no knowledge of accounting, no knowledge of finance and no knowledge of cost accounting can also take this course. We have discussed all concepts and started from the basics. So first is financial statements. B is actually it's external reporting, let me say. Second is planning, budgeting and forecasting. Again, very interesting. When you're talking of planning, it is strategic planning. Planning not for tomorrow or day after. Planning not for this year. Planning but maybe for the next 20 years. You're talking of the mission and the vision of the organization. Planning, the strategic planning, the budgeting. Budgeting again, this entire plan for 20 years. Hence, the plan may be broken up into shorter plans. What do you achieve in 5 years in order to achieve what you intend to achieve in 20 years? Therefore, what do you intend to achieve in 1 year so that you can achieve your goals in the next 5 years? So on and so forth. That part of it would be budgeting and of course forecasting, because in order to budget, in order to plan so much ahead, you need to have certain idea of forecasting. So that's a little bit of statistics involved there. Next you have section C, which is performance management. How do you assess the performance and how do you manage it? How do you ensure you're always on the right track? Section D is cost management. You have all cost concepts, costing systems, introduction to costing systems, and what can be done in order to minimize costs. Finally, we wind up with internal control, section E. What is your corporate governance? What are the risks involved? What are the system risks involved? What are the other risks involved? And what controls are put in place in order to assess these risks. Now, when you look at this entire syllabus, you see it seems to cover accounting, it seems to have financial analysis, it seems to have some of statistics, right? There are so many areas. The beauty of this course, students, is that it is vast in the sense it covers all aspects of finance and management practice. At the same time, it does not go in depth into any one particular topic. You are not training to be a particular accountant or a particular analyst. It gives you tools, it gives you certain tools which would help you in a managerial position. It gives you an idea of financial accounting, it gives you an idea of financial analysis, it gives you an idea of management practices, all that you need in order to be in a managerial position. Right? Now, each of these sections is divided into sub-modules. Okay, what are the sub-modules now? If you look at Section A, accounting for 15% of the total marks. Okay, it consists of, when I say this is how we have broken up. It says Section A itself is very vast. So we have made certain sub-modules so that it's easier for you into small chunks in order to proceed step by step. So we have financial statements, we have revenue recognition, valuation of assets and valuation of liabilities. Now, what does that mean? Remember, making of the financial statements, understanding what is revenue, how to value your assets, liabilities, etc. has to be in a certain pattern. It has to follow the US GAAP. What is GAAP? GAAP. That is generally accepted accounting principles. So you get introduced to this, how these are applied, what is the form, what is the presentation, what is the idea behind having these principles and how you apply them. Right? Now this accounts for 15% of the total marks, but the area is slightly vast, and if you don't have an accounting background, I would say that it would actually cover 25% of the course in terms of the effort that you need to put in. Right? Now, what about the next one? Next one is planning, budgeting and forecasting. You have strategic planning. Remember, strategic planning I told you is about the mission and the vision, maybe 20 years hence, right? Then you break it down into budgeting, budgets for a month, budget for a year, maybe 6 months, for a quarter, for a month, and so on and so forth. How do you make budgets? What are the methodologies, etc.? The annual profit plan, top level analysis. It's all the strategic planning, mind you, is a top level function. So how is a vision, how is a mission arrived at, and how do we work towards achieving the same? Several management philosophies, and of course budgeting, as well as finally we wind up with forecasting techniques. As I said before, certain stats is involved, largely because if you are going to visualize something for the future, you also need to forecast. You do not have control over your environment, and while your forecast may be right or wrong, it should not be just a guess. There should be some scientific principles behind the forecasting. Right? Then we come to performance management. Interesting. This is variance analysis. What is variance? Variance, as the name thing, is varies from something. Varies from what? You set the standard. You decide this should be your profit, this should be your revenue, this should be your cost. But when there is actual performance, there could be a variance, a difference, and that would be variance analysis. I'm not going into depth, but this gives you an idea of what is different, why you have it. It helps to do a management by exception. You look at areas where there is a difference, where there is a variance. You manage performance or try to control performance by having certain responsibility centers. Who is responsible? Is a manager responsible? How do you find out profitability of a particular unit, of a particular product, right? So that is what you call responsibility centers and segments. And of course, different performance measures. How do you measure the performance? performance of these different centers, or is it managers, or is it units, or is it products. So this is performance management, accounting for 20% of the total syllabus. I forgot to mention that section B, mind you, is the largest chunk, accounting for 30% of the total syllabus. Next, we do cost management. Cost management, mind you students, the sections have been arranged exactly as per the learning outcome statement. But cost management actually introduces us to these certain cost systems and costing systems, cost concepts and costing systems, which you might need in order to do section C. So I always suggest that you first do section D and then go back to section C. In order to have a control over cost, we also look at some called supply chain management and business process improvements, all of which will help to bring down the cost substantially. This again, section D accounts for 20% of the total syllabus. Finally, we have internal controls, that's section E, where you look at governance, what are the risks, what are the compliances we need to have, how we build in controls in order to mitigate our risks. Again, accounts for 15% of the total marks. Another beauty of this course, students, is that the entire course is very updated, very relevant, it's up to date. A lot of management philosophies, management thoughts, costing techniques, etc., which are so relevant and new, have been introduced into the syllabus. You have a lot of live case studies also, as is applied in order to make the content so much more interesting. Now, this was generally about the syllabus. What about our courseware? How do we use our courseware? Mind you, it's a self-study courseware. How do we go about using it? How do we go about using the courseware? I suggest students, the first time that you are going through this, you stick to the order as below. Let me tell you like this. Section A, Section B, then you do Section D. Is it clear, students? I mentioned before, cost concepts are introduced here. It would make it that much easier to move to Section C. If you do not have an background in cost accounting, never done cost accounting, I absolutely insist that you do Section D before you go to Section C. Is it clear? So you do Section A, then Section B, then Section D, C, and end up with Section E. That would be the best way to do it when you study, at least for the first time. Okay. Each of these sections have been divided into sub-modules, and each of these sub-modules have topics. I suggest you don't jump last first. You go in the particular sequence, because there has been considerable thought about how we have arranged the topics. There is a flow and it would get disturbed otherwise. So try to follow the first time study, at least I request you stick to the sequence of the sub-modules. The videos, of course, can be viewed any number of times. Take your time. It is, I repeat, self-study. While I am there speaking to you, telling you, somebody is guiding you, it is only a guidance. It is absolutely your absorption of the material. Do not rush. Mind you, you have to assimilate the knowledge. It is not about simply watching. It's not a movie or a cricket match that you are watching. It is something that you need to watch and absorb. Understand, pause the videos, reflect, go back if you have to, rewind, play it again. Ensure that you understand the concept, and we have tried as far as possible to start from very basic concepts, so that if you are clear conceptually, we believe that any kind of question you will be able to tackle. So instead of getting into complicated questions, you understand the concept, be clear. Once with that clarity, you will be able to see through, solve any problem, any question. Clear, students? Now, all of you will be sent a physical book, which is nothing but a compilation of all the slides, all that is being discussed during the courseware. It becomes handy if you have a physical thing. If you're not able to switch on your laptop, mobile and view the course, there is a handbook in hand for ready reference. What we suggest is that when you go through the course, you also keep this book next to you so that you can make your notes, what is not there in the particular slide, because many things are being spoken to you, being told to you. What you find interesting, tough, or a point you think is worth recollecting again, you make those notes in the particular handbook, in that particular workbook, while watching the videos. What I also sometimes suggest is that you can use post-its, at certain areas. Maybe when you do a question, it is tough and you want to come back to it. You flag it with certain post-its. You can flag what you want to revise. Certain pages may have summaries. You have summary of the entire lesson, or a summary of the particular submodule we have done, or a summary of the ratios, all ratios, all formulas, they are at one place. You might want to, that may be a short quick revision. So you could put a post-it there, flag it. These different post-its could have different colors. Yellow may be depicting all the tough questions. The pink papers may be depicting what you need to refer again. Maybe blue paper would reflect what you do at the last minute, just before you go for the exam. You want to do something just the previous night. They may be last minute revisions, LMR, right? You could have colored post-its. Use it, that handbook, the workbook can be very handy. Use it to your advantage. Next, students, what about the question solving? This should be your most important tool. Now, how has the course been designed? We take up a few concepts, explain the concepts, right? Maybe sometimes with examples. And then we have a short quiz of 10, 20, 25 questions in order to test the understanding of those few concepts that we just covered, right? When you take this quiz, now how do you take the quiz? Again, you don't just play it. The question is asked, please pause, please try to answer the question on your own. It does not matter that you make mistakes. Make an effort to attempt. You have to understand and apply the concept. So take time. Maybe you should be taking only 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes. You take more time the first time round, it does not matter. But you must attempt on your own. Only then you know whether you have actually understood or not. If you don't do that, and if you just continue to watch the video and the quizzes and the solutions, you think you know, you feel it was easy, and of course you knew, but it is just not the same, students. It is only when you make an attempt, you know what are the areas you are getting stuck in, what was the problem, and what was that little doubt which was there behind your mind. I repeat, try please to work out all the questions on your own, and don't be disheartened if you have made mistakes. The more mistakes you make now, the better it is, the more is your learning. So what I suggest, you make all the mistakes that you can now while you are studying and going through the course. That will reduce the number of mistakes that you will make when you actually attempt the exam. Clear, students? So what do? Whenever there is a quiz, the question is asked, pause, don't wait for the solution to come, because the solutions have been provided continuously. It's a continuous format. We don't pause for you. So you pause the video, make an attempt, and then when you have made a mistake, if you have made a mistake, try to understand why you made the mistake and why the answer that we have provided should be the right answer. What was your doubt? What was your confusion? Why did you make that mistake? That's how you learn better. That's how you assimilate. Is it clear? And if you see that the question, or you're not able to answer those questions at all, most of them are wrong, somewhere you've not understood, go back, students. The video is there in your hands. Go back, understand. Go back, understand the whole concept once more, and then again apply your mind. It is self-study. Discipline is required from your side. We have made our best efforts to design the course in such a way that everything is made conceptually clear and you should be able to tackle the questions. We need a little bit effort from you. So please, students, I hope you will make that extra effort. Learn from your mistakes. I repeat, when you make a mistake, don't look at the solution and just say, oh yes, this is the solution. No, you please understand why you made the mistake, and why this is the correct solution. That will only improve your understanding, right? So there are around there must be more than 1200 multiple choice questions in the whole thing. So it's a lot that you are covering. Do it patiently. Do refer to other question banks also. Also, there have been a few essay questions also have been worked out, right? This is a sample question of the MCQ format, and so also another sample question of the essay kind of question, right? Though we have made our sincere efforts to design the course in a way for you to understand better, assimilate better, arrange quizzes in such a manner that you also are able to test your understanding of all the concepts. Do get back to us in case you have any doubts. Do give us a feedback, positive, negative, both are welcome. Positive feedback motivates us, negative feedback helps us to improve. Okay, students, so please don't hesitate. Do make an effort and let us know what is your feedback. So with that, happy learning. Remember, knowledge is power. Go ahead. I hope you enjoy learning as much as we have enjoyed designing this course for you. Thank you, students.